Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this video. I'm Joel from Life in Nica, and this is a quick update on the San Juan del Sur property market. So what things are like after 6 months of coronavirus related travel restrictions, plus my predictions on future trends as we come out of this. So back when coronavirus first hit, my worry was that we were going to see something similar to what happened after the 2018 political issues here in Nicaragua, when real estate demand dropped significantly. And for a while, it looked like that might happen. Clients had their flights canceled, they weren't able to come down, and so they put those potential purchases on hold. But then something strange started to happen. My website traffic actually increased and then exploded, and I was getting the most visitors I'd ever had. And part of it for sure was that people stuck at home during the start of quarantine were armchair surfing, tropical and beach destinations. So at the same time, the short-term rental market did exactly what you might expect in a tourist town without tourists, right? Rental demand dropped significantly. Foreigners couldn't fly in, and that ended up with the Airbnb and VRBO, occupancy rates declining, as well as rental prices. And this was a worldwide phenomenon, which led to Airbnb actually cutting 25% of its staff. So as a result of that, in the short-term market, prices for long-term rentals came down too. Owners and managers opened up more units to month-to-month and longer leases, right? Properties that had previously only been available nightly or weekly in order to generate a higher rate of return. And that all makes sense from a supply and demand perspective, right? Lots of the former, not much of the latter. Now, not every segment of the market dropped though. We did see, and we have been seeing, an increase in domestic Nicaraguan tourists coming in for the weekends. So wealthier Nicas that might otherwise have done quick trips to Mexico or Miami are now doing more weekend visits to San Juan del Sur. And while that doesn't nearly make up for the more numerous and higher spending foreign visitors, we are seeing a little more of that from Friday to Sunday. Now, what does this all mean for the property market here? In terms of deals being closed, we've actually got a ton on the go, and we've seen a moderate decrease in between asking prices and what the actual sales price is. So a lot of sellers are willing to be more negotiable on price than they previously would have. Now, how much just depends on the owners, properties, and how they were using them. So a lot of owners here in San Juan del Sur use their properties almost exclusively as an income generating asset. They might visit a week or two every year, and then the rest of the time rent them out on Airbnb or VRBO. Now, the current lack of demand and then revenue is making some people reassess those investments. The asset profile has changed. So because of that, we're seeing some great deals when those types of owners choose to divest. Now, buyer demand levels have stayed fairly steady after that drop and the bounce back, and we're seeing, like I said, plenty of transactions in San Juan del Sur and the area around here. Now, almost all of them are being completed remotely. And if you want a breakdown on how we do that, I've got a full article on how to buy property in Nicaragua from outside of the country. So you can check that out on the website. The demand that we're seeing is coming in from a few distinct different groups. So we got opportunity investors, digital remote workers, retirees, and families. Now, opportunity investors are common all over the world anytime you've got decreased prices. San Juan del Sur has seen hundreds of thousands of visitors, and some people who were maybe priced out of the market before are looking now for deals. Makes sense. There's also the booming trend of digital remote working, right? People are working from home, and a lot of that looks like it's going to be permanent. And you can check out my article on working remotely for more on that. And the pandemic-related changes to work mean that there are millions of people that will never have to go back to a traditional office. And Central America is particularly attractive for a number of reasons. One of them being the North American time zone, right? Like, I love Asia, but I don't want to get up at 2 a.m. So here it's perfect for people that need to be online during office hours. It's still a short flight home when they need to go back. And those remote workers are often looking for specific things. So high-speed internet, low-cost living environment, attractive climate, lots of outdoor space and activities, beaches, and that time zone where they can have a normal life. And we have that all here in San Juan del Sur. Next up, we're also seeing a lot of interest from retirees. So many people who had been considering a move to escape cold North American winters at some point are now making the investment early. We've got similar motivations to remote workers, all the things that I mentioned above. Plus, the coronavirus outbreak and the current political unrest in the US has taken the shine off of big city living in the US. And now with the excellent property prices, retirees are investing. So seeing a lot of that. And the final group we're seeing a lot of is families. So the school here in San Juan del Sur is a huge draw. I've got an article all on this. Having North American trained teachers, a lot of them, the moms, like expat moms, means the quality of education is on par, and in my opinion, maybe better than most schools in Canada or the US. Especially when you consider they get a full bilingual education, the school's on an organic cloud farm, they're outside, they're on the beaches. It's just a great environment. And the parents of those families often work online. Now, as I mentioned in another article about getting a maid here in Nicaragua, there's a huge geo-arbitrage advantage to living here and drawing a North American salary. Like domestic assistance is easy and super affordable. You can get a maid, incredibly cheaply, so parents can enjoy being parents as opposed to just being a chauffeur, a cook, and a cleaner, right? Now, what effect has all this had on sales prices and volume? We're seeing a lot of sales, like I said, a surprising amount, and there are some great values here at the moment. As I mentioned before, certain sellers are willing to unload the assets if the performance no longer matches their portfolio, and that's brought prices down a little bit, but demand is still high. And I would expect that to continue for the medium term. The trade-off is that if you buy a property, you get a great deal at the moment, don't expect great rental income, at least for a little while. When we are seeing price drops, especially on attractive properties, they are selling quickly, it seems. So I have more deals in process right now than ever before. So if you see a property that you like at a price that works, you might need to jump on it. Values are great, as I mentioned, and demand is strong, and it's especially in certain segments. What is most in demand at the moment is detached homes with pools and ocean views in gated communities. And that makes sense. It fits with the needs of all those buyer groups profiled above for the most part. So what are the likely trends going forward? Now, in my opinion, there are going to be some long-term trends that come out of this year, the coronavirus. The first is that tourism is going to take a while to recover. Countries, individuals, and airlines are going to take time to adjust. The International Air Transport Association, which represents like all of the big airlines in the world, they're predicting international air travel won't recover to pre-coronavirus levels until like 2024. And I agree. It's hard to imagine an overnight explosion in short-term tourists returning. That rebound in numbers is likely to be more slow and steady. The second trend is that when people travel, they're likely to do so for longer, and they will often be working while they're traveling. Again, goes back to all the working remotely stuff. These visitors are likely going to have greater financial resources than our previous demographic. They're more likely to be white collar, professionals. So if you own a rental property here or you're thinking about buying one, you should think about how you can set it up to target upmarket guests so they can work comfortably. Stuff like high-speed internet is now mandatory. And with boosters, just so you make sure it reaches everywhere on your property so they can work beside the pool if they want to and share it on Instagram. Owners should also include the touches that make a wealthier demographic feel at home. That would be like nice linens, good lighting, a well-equipped kitchen. That's going to keep people coming back. Short-term occupancy rates in San Juan will likely stay low, and that'll keep prices lower even after flights reopen. That's going to also keep longer-term rentals prices lower, right? Supply and demand. So it's also a good time if you want to come visit and try before you buy. I personally have a bunch of clients that are planning on coming down here for 3 to 6 months once flights reopen, and then making sure that they like it, right? Now, if you happen to be looking in that regard, if you're looking for a long-term rental, you can always reach out to me. I'll just put you in direct contact with some of the best rental managers here, and that'll make it easier for you. So on to what do I think the future of the town looks like. Now, hospitality and tourism-related businesses are going to continue to face challenges in the short term, right? Those businesses base their activity on foreigners spending money here, and previously that was short-term tourists, but that's going to take time to recover. So in my opinion, the potential for these long-term expats moving here or just living here long-term is extremely attractive. And long-term, I actually think the trend for town is really good. The local economy may end up actually being more stable. So San Juan ticks all the boxes for a lot of people looking to escape Canada and the US. And those people that would be moving here, the retirees, families, and those working remotely, have greater financial resources, again, than our previous demographic. And those expats will be living here, continuously injecting money into the local economy. Now, those capital inflows from North American salaries and retirement accounts are going to provide more stability than just this tourist-based economy that we had before, right? So that would lead, one hopes, to the rehiring of locals in all of these market sectors. So I think the long-term trends are good. I think it's going to stay cheap here for a little while, and I still think we're seeing a lot of deals and a lot of transactions going on. But the improvements to tourism aren't going to happen overnight. Tourist destinations all over the world have those challenging times ahead, but we're extremely well positioned here to do well in the future with the shift in how and where people live and work. Now, that's my opinions, and I really appreciate you checking it out. For any questions, obviously you can reach out and contact me. Really appreciate you watching. For this and anything else on living and investing in Nicaragua, you can always rock over to the site and check it out at lifeinnica.com. Have a great day. Bye for now.